only thought was, do you know something that I don't know? Do you know something, for example, in the Mueller report that others are unfamiliar with? Because to call the president a Russian agent or to make that charge amidst a report that's been headlined that there was no collusion really makes folks wonder, where are you coming from?
Well, Neil, I'm not going to apologize for loving this country and being someone who benefited from free markets,
no,
free
but that
ideas,
wasn't my question, sir. My question was
so
whether you called the president. I understand that, but you essentially called the president a foreign agent of the Russians, and I'm wondering, there's a report out that seems to disavow that.
Have you read the report?
No, but neither of you, right? So you don't accept the points that the Attorney General raised. If the report comes out and confirms what the Attorney General has said, and by the way, Mueller and his folks certainly would have corrected the Attorney General if he got it wrong, would you acknowledge that you got this wrong?
Well, would you acknowledge that there's a difference between being criminally liable for conspiracy but having conduct that is wrongdoing? So my belief, Neil, is that you don't have to have access to classified information. You don't have to be a lawyer to see that lying about business dealings in Russia, allowing your son to take meetings with the Russians that offered dirt on Hillary Clinton, and also asking the Russians to keep hacking after they're attacking our democracy is wrong. And then while you're president, to meet with the Russians, to reduce sanctions against the Russians, to diminish the role of NATO, to allow them to continue to persist in Ukraine is wrong. And to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin where you kick everyone else out of the room and take the interpreter's notes is suspicious. You don't have to read Bob Mueller's report to just say that is a betrayal of our country.
But everyone in your party, sir, and everyone in the other party was waiting for this report 2+ years in the making. If it says no collusion, and you're quite right, it could be an open-ended issue on obstruction of justice. Maybe there wasn't enough evidence to support that. Maybe there was. We'll find out, to your point, when it comes out. But do you think it's irresponsible to make a comment like that when, as you acknowledge, you don't know what that report says?
No, not at all, Neil. And I'll give you an example. Your network all week has expressed outrage about the Smollett case, the fact that we all know what happened. There were witnesses, he lied about it, but yet he was not criminally charged. And I would submit to you that couldn't it be the same case, that we know what happened with Donald Trump and his team and the Russians, that they all lied about it, but just like in the Smollett case, it doesn't reach that high standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt?
Well, one was a report that was more than 2 years in the making. We don't know a lot about.
Well, it was the president of the United States. We want to make sure we get it right.
So let me get this straight, because same criticism for your committee chairman, Adam Schiff, that he jumped the gun to still argue collusion and to still argue that. Do you think that is responsible in a report that might raise some damning behavioral issues for the president, but that it wasn't deemed enough to warrant further indictments of other individuals, the president included?
Well, again, I think you and I agree that we want to see the full report. And I don't want to get too nuanced here, but there is a difference between proof beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest standard in the law, which is that's higher than more likely than not, and wrongdoing. You don't need to have the Mueller report to see all the things that this president did
then why
with
the
the
heck
Russians.
Did we
can't
do
just
it? You were for the Mueller report, right? I mean, why the heck did we do it now? And by the way, the report might raise some of the issues you just did, but why the hell did we go through this, spend the tens of millions of dollars we did, if you're saying I don't need to see it to know that the president's a crook?
Well, no. I'm saying on the issue of, did the president seek to work with the Russians? Did he ask them to keep hacking? Did he welcome their support? Did he take actions that benefited them? We don't need to see the Mueller report. We've seen all of that. The Mueller report, by the way, has also produced over 30 indictments, 6 guilty pleas, and others who are still, under criminal investigation. So it's not like it produced nothing.
Fair enough, and more in that case for lying and all that. But you're quite right. But let me step back.
But in America, Neil, you don't get away. You don't get to bury the evidence and then get off scot-free. If we find that you are lying or obstructing or tampering with witnesses to get away from the underlying crime, there's a penalty for that, and I think that's for good reason.
And those people who you quite rightly raised are suffering and enduring that penalty as we speak. But no additional people.
The president's chairman, his lawyer, his national security advisor.
But no one in addition to that in this latest report conclusion leading all the way up to the president. Do you think they should have been?
I want to see the full report. I will accept anything Mueller says. I have the fullest.
But you're not. You're not. If he says that, and you obviously question but you question the conclusions of the Attorney General. When, again, if any of those conclusions were wrong, I'm sure Mueller would have raised it. But you're not going to accept, it sounds to me, whatever that report is.
No. Again, Neil, I want to go back to the Smollett case.
If that report says that the president was not a Russian agent, Congressman, would you say the president is not a Russian agent?
The president acts on Russia's behalf. I don't need to see the Mueller report for that.
So then you don't care
Neil,
what the report says. You've drawn your own conclusions.
Oh, no,
right?
I care deeply. I care deeply what the report says.
No, you don't. You just said you don't. You don't care what the final report says because you've drawn your own conclusions, right?
No, Neil, I care what the report says. I am telling you that there is a difference between what you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt and wrongdoing that we all have seen. Just because you are off scot-free for a crime doesn't mean you didn't do something wrong. And I think you would agree with that.
But we don't know if that's the case. You've already said it is.
Well, I know. I don't need to see the report to see that the president's kids met with the Russians in Trump Tower.
But you're quite right. We'll see when the report comes out whether it can settle it once and for all or not.
And please bring me back on. I want to talk about it with you.
We'll always enjoy it. Congressman, thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Neil.
We'll have more after this.
Why is